Hi, good morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you are getting around to doing reading today. Today we have a pretty interesting learning target. Check this out. Today I want to teach you that the text will teach you how to read it. The text will teach you? I thought I was here to teach you. The text is going to teach you. Well, that makes my job pretty easy. Are you planning on teaching them how to read you?
Yeah, I'll teach you how to read me. Well, you do the mind work, and I'll give you signals when to read fast and when to read slow and closely.
Ah, that's right. The book will give us hints. You and I, we, the reader, we have to do the mind work. If you think about a long time ago when we read Stone Fox, we learned that there's kind of two things we do when we read. One is making kind of that mental movie in our head, just reading and visualizing and kind of just enjoying the story. And then there's other parts where we're collecting information, where we have to stop and read more closely so that we understand what's going on in the story. So think back to Stone Fox.
Little Willie would play the harmonica for Grandpa, and Searchlight would howl along. That was part of the story you should have been able to visualize. It should have been like a mental movie in your head.
After that mental movie where Little Willie and Grandfather were hanging out, we realized that Little Willie was going to have to harvest the potatoes for Grandfather. And the author kind of gave us a little heads up on what he would all have to do to harvest those potatoes.
We knew that there was a lot of work to be done. Potatoes were underground. The plow had to be sharpened. They needed a horse. He also needed to clean and mend the bags where the potatoes would be stored until they got sold.
Hopefully you saw that shift from when you were reading and making that movie to when we were collecting information. You're going to read a little bit slower and a little bit more carefully. Now, in these last couple of lessons for reading, you're going to see that fiction and mystery have a lot of things in common, and how reading and studying mysteries can help us read all fiction books. So just like we did that with Stone Fox, we're also going to do look for those signals from our mystery text. Okay, and a mystery text gives us a couple other places we might slow down and read a little more closely.
Places worth slowing down and reading closely in a mystery book. When you meet a new character, when you're at the crime scene, when you spot a clue, when the detective pauses to retell or check facts, and lastly, when you encounter or come across a possible suspect. All right, you know you want to. Open me and read me. Look for some hints to slow down and collect information. Chapter 6, The Missing Apple. Maya was now on the top floor, standing just outside Luke Smith's office. She took a deep breath and lifted her hand to knock. After finding a large knife on the second floor, she wondered what she might find on the third floor. Suddenly, the door opened and Maya was confronted by Luke Smith dressed in a tracksuit. Maya gasped. "Sorry to surprise you," Luke said kindly. "I always go for a jog before lunch." He gestured to his sneakers and smiled. Through his binoculars, Jerry could see Maya's surprised expression. Then he thought he saw Luke Smith leave the building through the front door. Luke Smith ran a few short feet, then stopped by the building's drain pipe, kneeling down to tie his shoelaces. With a quick motion, he picked up something from the street, hopped up, and ran off towards the post office. He had a big smile on his face. That's a strange route for a jog, thought Jerry.
That is a strange route for a jog. And whenever it clues me that something's kind of strange, plus there was multiple things that Luke Smith did before he actually got up and jogged, it's kind of like collecting information. Whenever you're kind of like, oh, this and this. So it said, he ran a few short feet, stopped by the drain pipe, knelt down to tie his shoelaces. With a quick motion, he picked up something. He hopped up and ran towards the post office with a big smile. I also noticed the way he was running. Who runs like that? All right, let's keep going.
Meanwhile, Maya looked around Luke's office. It had the same layout as Danny Braveheart's office below. There was one workbench and 2 windows facing the street, one of which was open. Sounds like more clues. Good time to read slow and listen closely. Luke's tools were spread out along the workbench, and some of his clothes hung on the coat rack against the wall. Maya walked to the open window and waved to Jerry in the church tower. Jerry waved back. Maya moved around the room slowly, looking for something without knowing exactly what she was looking for. She picked up the tools, twisting and turning them to see how they worked. She checked the drawers in the desk. They were locked. There's something missing, she thought. Then she realized. The apple. Something told her that Luke's green apple was very important. She didn't know why, it's just a feeling she had. When she pictured Luke, she immediately saw the green apple right in front of her eyes. She looked everywhere and she couldn't find the apple. He must have eaten it, she thought, and I know just how to find out. Maya raced over to the trash can to look for the apple core, but it was empty. Suddenly, Jerry saw Luke Smith leave the post office. He tucked a small key in his pocket and jogged back to the jewelry store. Oh no! Maya was still nosing around looking for clues in his office. Jerry watched Luke open the jewelry store and disappear into the building. This is where a good tip-off would come in handy, thought Jerry. All right, it's one more page left in the chapter, but there's a lot of text on those 2 pages. And a couple places where my mind slowed down a little bit because of what the text was doing. The first one was right in the very beginning when they were talking about Luke Smith's office. It looked the same as Danny Braveheart's. There was 2 workbenches, 2 windows facing the street, one of which was open. So you had 2 windows. There was a window that was open. You had the tools spread out. So right now my brain's looking for clues because we know that Luke was just suspicious when he was going for his jag. So I want to really read that closely and see if there's anything else that could be a clue or a hint as to where these diamonds are disappearing off to. All right, let's wrap up the chapter. Jerry had to warn Maya somehow. Jerry opened his detective bag and took out a small mirror. He held it out through the shutters of the church tower and turned it towards the sun. It caught a ray of sunshine and reflected straight into Luke Smith's workshop. Jerry directed the beam right into Maya's face. At first, Maya was irritated and held her hands across her eyes, but then she understood that Jerry was trying to tell her something. She ran across the room to the cleaning supplies and pretended to work. Just in time. As soon as she picked up the bucket and squeegee, the door to the room opened. In walked a still smiling Luke Smith. "Hi there, junior worker," he said with a smile. "I've just finished the window," Maya said cheerfully and headed out the door. Phew, that was a little close for comfort, Jerry sighed over in the church tower. All right, so your job as you read today is to pay attention to what that text is signaling for you to do. For your response, your teacher would like you to tell them about a part in your reading today where it signaled you to slow down. What did you do? In our reading today together, in chapter 6, the text signaled me to read more closely when Luke Smith was acting strangely before his jog. But I'm not done yet. I need to be specific. What was he? All right, I've added his kind of the strange behavior, the information I was collecting about the steps he did before he just went on running. He ran a few feet, he stopped by the drain pipe, he picked up something, and he ran with a big smile on his face. Usually if people are getting a quick jog outside, they're breathing or they're focusing or they're thinking. Usually they're not running with a big giant smile on their face, but it could just be that he's happy, but it also could be a clue. Before I wrap it up, a great response always adds in some of the reader's thinking. We always want to know what you guys are thinking when you're reading. There are many things I could write. So as I'm looking at my response, I could write about that smile on his face I just talked about. I could write about what I wonder, because I wonder what he picked up. I'm wondering if this drain pipe is a clue. He stopped by the drain pipe. I could predict that maybe he picked up a diamond or the apple. Anything else that I am thinking? I wonder if you guys are thinking any of those same things or maybe something different. All right, I'm going to wrap up my response.
Are you guys still with me? All right, check this out. My last sentence. I added a thought that I had. I wonder if whatever Luke Smith picked up is what made him smile. What did he pick up that would make him smile? So again, this could be a huge clue, or it could be another red herring trying to make me think Luke Smith looks guilty when he's not. We will find out.
Hey kids, it's Jerry. Thanks for coming along with us as we solve the mystery of the diamonds. See you next time.